here with our 2008 R51 Pathfinder. We don't use it a lot in the summer, but we love it in the winter. It needs rear brakes, so I can get the inspection sticker that, you know, is required. So I'm going to quickly show you how to go after this. You're going to need at least a socket set, a breaker bar, a way to lift your vehicle safely, and the rest of it you'll see along the way. Hopefully it helps. If it does, my kids tell me if you hit that subscribe button, apparently I can buy a coffee someday, so that'd be cool. Here we go. As you can see, the rotors are hurting. The brake pads are, well, the inside one, outside one's not bad. The inside one is gone, and I mean gone. So we're gonna get this apart, get it up, get the wheel under it, so if it falls on your head, it won't, you know, because it'll fall on that. If you live somewhere there's no salt, I'm jealous. Okay, it's a 14, it's a 17. We should be able to do everything with those two. This bolt right here, and this bolt down here, right up in, I can't get my hand to it, right there. Gotta come off. This whole caliper bracket will come off and we'll be ready to go. So we're gonna do that. It's loose enough, I can probably take it out by hand and go to the bottom. We're on it down there. If those bolts are a little too tight, that's where you might appreciate a longer bar. It's a good investment. Get it started with that, walk it out with your ratchet. So those are out. You should be able to wrestle this off. Sometimes they're a little stuck. This one's gonna come off with one hand though. And I'm just gonna lay it up in there. You see that inner pad? Not doing so hot, I'm just saying. Anyway, are the slide pins sliding? See, these should move right here. That one's moving a little bit. I need both hands to really do it. That one is as well. You saw it move there. That's good. So we're gonna take these apart, add some grease to them, and get ready to put everything back together. I find it easier to loosen these bolts while this is mounted before you take the bigger two out. But I figured mine would come out just fine, so I took the risk. And they did. All right, I'm gonna set that caliper up in there so that it doesn't hang on the brake line and damage that, because I don't want to do that job tonight. This is what we're after. These are moving free, which is awesome. So we're just gonna add a little grease here. Well, actually they're probably just fine. I'm gonna add some new brake pads. We're in here, a little dab of grease won't hurt anything. So here we go. Reinstall. Reinstall. There it is. Just push them down in so the rubber seats itself. Make sure they're moving free. Knock these brake pads out of there. You can change your anti-rattle clips. I might. I probably will if my new pads came with them. If not, I'm going to keep those. So let's go open the box and see. Before I do that, this comes off. There's no set screw or anything holding this on. It just should fall off of there. If it doesn't, it just needs to be torqued into it. Because I don't care about this rotor, because I got new ones, we're just gonna convince it, there we go, to come off. So my e-brake pads are shot. That's what I see. Probably from me hitting things, but they were pretty well gone beforehand. So we'll do those too, but that's another video. Anyway. So in another video, we'll do the emergency brake because they're obviously terrible. I haven't been in here, I don't know who was, but this is the adjuster I was talking about, which should line up with this hole. So this should have been on this way, and it was, but I've turned it since. You can pop that out, turn the adjuster to move the emergency brake shoes if you have to. In my case, I didn't care because I knew that mine were bad in there. I know I'm going to be doing those. I know I'm replacing the rotors. So that's what it is. We put everything back together. We got to push this caliper piston back in. Save an old brake pad, shove it in there like that. Take a C-clamp, because then you don't need some fancy tool. Put it right on like this and squeeze. Working properly, you'll see that caliper slide back in. There it goes. We're just gonna squish it all the way back in. Go back in, now you can throw your old brake pad away. And again, put that up there so it's not hanging down on putting pressure on the brake. New pads did come with clips, so they just install right in here in this orientation. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and put the brake pad. You know what that little tab by my pinky is on the brake pad? I don't. But every time I've seen it, it's been on the inside. This was my inside pad from last time. There it is. But of the 4 pads sent, only one of them had it. All right, when this mounts in there, it's gonna go on like that. You got it? So this is the shape that everything should be in. The curve of the pad will follow the curve of the rotor once it's installed. Try to help you see the shape of this. We're gonna put this back into the caliper. It just goes in between, right in there. And then we reinstall these bolts. I need to. All reinstalled. I'll give you the torque value. Well, I won't. Actually, I don't really believe in giving you torque values. Here's why. I'm some knucklehead on the internet that you don't know. You shouldn't trust me. So what I'm gonna do instead is I'm gonna put a screenshot of the service manual, which you can get for free at nicoclub.com. Learn how to read it, and that will tell you how many foot-pounds to torque everything to. So it'll come up on the screen. Important to note when it does, there are 3 numbers, three numbers after every kind of bolt. It's the 3rd one that's foot-pounds. The first one I think is, I don't know, Newton meters maybe. The other one, the first 2 are metric. Or maybe, I don't know. The third one is the foot-pounds. You'd know that if you read the key that's not on the page that I'm showing you. When you're ready to reinstall your new rotor, line up that odd hole with the adjuster so that, you know, things will work later, and just slide it on. And then we're going to take this over top of the rotor, line up these with those, and rethread bolts. I need 2 hands. Hopefully you paused the video and got the torque for those. I'll give you a hint. It had a 7 and a 6 in it, in that order. There's that one. We'll do the bottom one. Probably you paused the video and got this value for these. It had a 2 and a 4 in it, in that order. So we're gonna torque those. The only other thing that I did off camera before I put anything back together that I didn't show you, I greased my upper and lower ball joints because, well, they're just a lot easier to get at. And I'm in here, so it felt like the right time. Remember that hole to access the adjuster? They never come with a plug, so get the plug out of your old one before you go throwing it away. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna want it. A screwdriver, if I had one, should do that for me. Just out it comes. Yep, there we go. Get a hold of it. Put it right in here. Take a screwdriver and seat it in there. You can figure it out. Just poke everything in where it's supposed to be. Keep the water out and keep your emergency brake not looking like what mine does. All right, another video, another time. We'll do the emergency brake, those shoes in there. It'll be for fun. Made it this far, the other side's back together. I've loosened these 2 already. Just a quick reminder. If all you have is a ratchet, you don't have a strong bar, but you got a hammer, if it's tight, if you tap it a little bit, it's kind of like an impact driver. So on the bottom, I'll show you this one. You could break your ratchet, but you know. So you should invest in the bar, but that's too tight to get. So you take a little thing and you, now we're going to town. This one's a little more stubborn. So if you just take something in there, just give it a little persuasion, it'll come off. I gotta get ready to catch it because I don't want any pressure on the brake line. By way of reminder, a little persuasion, and it's loose, and then off it comes. And my emergency brake on this side needs done as well. But again, another video for another day. So we're gonna skip on beyond that step and back into just brake pads. And this section of the video is just a speedy reminder. Bolts out, separate caliper from mounting bracket, check pins. They are moving. I'm gonna grease. Move old brake pads and anti-rattle clips, install. Everything fell apart on you when you took it apart and you're not sure which way to put them in. Hold it in the way it'll mount And the curve of this follows the curve of the rotor once installed. Compress caliper piston. C-clamp, old brake pad, turn, it will move. Here we go. Install new rotor. Pay attention that that sort of almost lines up with your adjuster for your emergency brake. Remember that? There's an adjuster down there, down bottom, right in there. That little turny wheel right there. Line the hole up with that. Install. That's how you change the tension on your emergency brake. We're not going to do that today because I still have to actually change those brake shoes. But again, reinstall caliper mounting bracket. You might find it easier to torque before you put the actual caliper on because, you know, room. So you're in there. If you got a grease gun, go ahead and give a couple shots to your upper and lower ball joint. If you happen to have serviceable sway bar links, like if they have a grease fitting, hit them too. I'm jealous, mine don't. Reinstall caliper, torque to spec. That was on the screen a while ago. You may need to hold the inside of this if things spin right here. I've never had to, so I think it's an 18 mil, but I wish you the best. Make sure you get this plug. You're gonna want it. Reinstall plug in new rotor. You can do it. It's only marginally frustrating. All done. Wheel back on, retorque, go seat brakes. That's all I planned to show tonight. If it helped you, great. If it didn't, well, you wasted your time. I didn't make you, so there's that. Hit the buttons and do the stuff and all the things that people are split. You can probably do the job. That's the point. Have a good time. Okay, if you made it this long in the video, if you struggle getting your wheels back on and you're working in the dirt like me, if you put a forearm on each thigh, get the holes lined up before you lift it, kind of lean back and lift with your feet. Usually, you can slide it right on. And then you're not lifting with your arms, you're lifting with your legs. You can do it. One other method, if you happen to have a stool, but you know, if you're on the side of the road, you don't. But if you do, same thing. Only you put your toes under it and you just lift with your toes. That's actually far easier, to be honest with you, but now you got both. Have a good night, wherever you're at.